In 2008, Brian Roberts gave this great keynote speech at CES where he talked about something called Project Infinity, which was really our desire, our strategy of making every choice ever available, make it available on demand. And we've kind of been on that course ever since. And when you look at on demand today, we have a library of about 60,000 choices that are available. The vast majority of them are free, and they're included as part of being a video subscriber. Last year we had our 30 billionth program viewed on demand. So this has gone way past any novelty. This is now deeply integrated into how many of our customers watch and enjoy video today. What's interesting, about 3 years ago, we started to notice that there was almost inflationary growth with on demand, that it was actually picking up in how much content, how much time being spent viewed was happening. And what we found was that a lot of it, the majority of it, was coming from TV catch-up. So historically, you would go to on demand, and you wouldn't necessarily always know what shows were going to be available, when they would be made available on the platform, how many episodes would be available. So we spent a lot of time and focus on creating more predictability. So now we have the top 100 shows available on demand. Think of it almost as if they're preloaded and saved for you. They're just there. We've also made material progress in increasing the number of episodes that are available at any given time. So traditionally, we would have the most recent 4 or 5 episodes. We've made significant progress toward, now we have over 500 series over the course of a year that are full seasons. It's every episode from the current season. And what we have found is, since we've created that level of predictability, since on demand is included, every one of our digital subscribers has on demand. This is where we're seeing growth, about 100% growth in time spent viewing over the last 3 years from the platform, and it's coming from TV, where movies, music, and kids, historically have been like the top performing categories for us, and they're still very important. TV is now the top category. It's about 40% of all of the usage. What's interesting about this is we also have capabilities where the programmers can dynamically insert ads into the on-demand platform. We also have measurement capabilities where Rentrack and Nielsen measure our on-demand platform. And we have seen many networks, almost all the broadcast networks, where they are now, on-demand is becoming an opportunity for them to better monetize their content, either in the C3 or C7 window or through dynamic ad insertion. And this is only fueling the growth of more and more content being made available to the on-demand platform, to the point where even on air, you're starting to see some networks promoting on-demand, where historically they would promote DVR, they're now promoting on-demand, and the on-demand platform is actually having a material impact in our households in lifting advertising and viewing of many TV shows.
Is the advertising different for on-demand than it would be for a network buy, or how does that whole sales scenario break down?
Ultimately, it really is at the discretion of the programmer. Our platform was designed to create the capabilities. So we have the capability to insert dynamically whatever the right ad load is for the programmer. We have the measurement capabilities to ensure that they're getting credit for it. But ultimately, the programmers can decide. What we have seen over the past few years is, many of the top broadcast networks and cable networks are leaning towards the C3 ad load, where they're making the same ads that were available on their linear exhibition available on demand during that C3 window, and then swapping out the ads using dynamic ad insertion on day 4. Interestingly, when we studied this, we've seen a lift in C3 viewing in Comcast households on average of about 20%. And when we look at series that have been stacked, meaning every episode is available, we've seen on average a lift of about 40% of C3 viewing. So I think not only is the audience there with on-demand, but these measurement capabilities and advertising capabilities, where we're starting to see all the pieces really come together, and that is only fueling more and more growth, more and more viewership, and ultimately more and more content for our customers. ODCR is something that's actually, it's been something that's been discussed, for several years now, and the concept is pretty simple. It stands for on-demand credit. Think of it as ODCR as just being like ODC3. And typically what happens is a programmer gets Nielsen C3 credit as long as the most recent episode is viewed within 3 days from the linear exhibition with the ads. ODCR is essentially taking those same ads that were in that linear exhibition and not only inserting them into the most recent episode, but into all the prior episodes as well. So whatever episode somebody is viewing, as long as it's being viewed within that 3 days and the ads are the same, then technically they can get C3 credit. Now, this is a technology that historically wasn't available, and Nielsen wasn't measuring it that way. And what we had been able to prove over the summer was we did some technical trials, and we actually have created the technology using our dynamic ad insertion to actually be able to support ODCR. And Nielsen has made some roads to actually be able to measure ODCR. So what's really interesting here is for the programmers who want to explore this, is it changes the paradigm. So you're no longer looking at buying an episode, you're buying a series. And when we study banking, and I think this is there's an interesting exploration around this notion of binge viewing and what does it really mean. And what we have found is typically binge viewing is somewhat misunderstood. That for the most part, it's actually not about delaying viewership, it's about getting caught up. And when we study the notion of binge viewing and when we make multiple episodes of a series available, we actually find that there's a higher propensity for viewers to get caught up. And then once they get caught up, they have a higher likelihood of actually watching the most current episode within a 3 to 7 day window. So what's interesting is that if you look at ODCR, what that could represent is the ability for programmers to insert those advertisers into older episodes and capture those new viewers who are finding these series at various points in time, but still be able to reach them with the same ad load. So it's an interesting opportunity. You know, we, again, as a platform, are very focused at offering programmers as many tools and options as possible to monetize their content. And ODCR just represents another capability that we had helped develop with Nielsen.